Point of order, Tahir Ali.
Madam Deputy Speaker, on 28th of March, I shared on social media the work I and colleagues across the two houses have been doing to urge the government of Pakistan to build an international airport at Mirpur. This is an important issue for over 1 million British Kashmiris who overwhelmingly come from there and face delay and danger whilst travelling from Islamabad to Mirpur. The reactions to that post, including from some members of the House, have resulted in us being subject to Islamophobic, racist attacks and harassment. The members of Great Yarmouth, Harborough, Oadby and Wigston, the member for Uppington, the member for Boston and Skegness, all of whom have been...
The honourable member should not be criticising other members for their social media posts in that way, but can I thank him for giving notice of his point of order, which might have gone slightly further than the notice he'd given, but he's eloquently put his concerns on the record. We now come to the general debate on road maintenance. I call the Secretary of State to move the motion.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker, for too long, Britain has been plagued by potholes. Too many people in too many parts of the country have had their everyday journeys turned into frustrating obstacle courses by our pock-marked roads. But it's worse than that. Cratered roads can be dangerous. They make our trips longer and more stressful, and they consume the hard-earned cash of ordinary families. With the average vehicle repair now costing a staggering £600, it's little wonder the AA tells us this is an issue of priority for 96% of drivers. But it's not just motorists who are suffering. Damaged roads cause problems for cyclists, motorcyclists and pedestrians. And dodgy pavements are infuriating if you're pushing a pram or using a wheelchair. I will give way.
I thank my friend for giving way. She reminded me of my road where I live, where the issue of a pothole actually led to the issues with pavement because people were trying to avoid the pothole going onto the pavement and led to the pavement being damaged. So would she agree that actually quick fixing of potholes will actually save the pavements as well?
Secretary of State.
My honourable friend describes a win-win situation.
Would you give way?
I will give way.
Melanie on.
I thank the right honourable lady for giving way. And on Friday at my constituency surgery, my constituent Helen came to see me because she had a terrible fall on a badly maintained pavement and has been really struggling to find who is responsible for maintaining the pavement. And is there anything within the legislation that, or within the funding that has been brought forward by this government to enable quick and easy repairs to pavements so that people like Helen don't have terrible accidents?
Secretary of State.
Local authorities are free to use the money as they see fit, as long as they are using that money in a way that represents value for money for the taxpayer. But the money can be used for work on the roads, on the pavements, or to structures. And the issue of responsibility will be for the local highways authority with respect to her constituent. I will give way.
Julian Lewis.
I'm very grateful to the Secretary of State giving way. I thought I'd get in before she gets back into her stride. I wonder if she can throw some light on an issue that's puzzled me for some time in my New Forest East constituency, which is that there is a stretch of road, Southampton Road, which is often used as a shortcut by very heavy goods vehicles who, rather than using the appropriate section of the M27 motorway. And these are often very large petrol bowsers, tankers, you name it. And surprise, surprise, the roadway is constantly getting broken up and potholes appear with all the consequences she alleges. whenever we've raised this with any of the companies to which these heavy vehicles belong, they say, well, it's a public highway, we're entitled to drive these vehicles where we want. Is there any obligation on companies not to do that?
Secretary of State.
I don't know whether the Honourable Gentleman has raised the matter with the Local Highways Authority, and I believe there may be the ability to apply a weight restriction on roads or to curtail the movement of large heavy goods vehicles, and so it might be something that he wishes to raise with the appropriate authority. Madam Deputy Speaker, I was describing the frustrating state of our roads and pavements, but I think most importantly, the country's broken roads have become, sadly, a symbol of the national decline that were presided over by the previous government. Our roads have compounded a feeling that nothing works in this country. They tell a story of a country left in a woeful state of disrepair after 14 long years of the previous government. Roads are the backbone of our transport system. They are the concrete arteries of our local and regional economies, yet too often they fall way short of the standards we should be able to expect in the 21st century. That's why this government is taking decisive action to deliver the renewal of our roads. We ploughed... I will give way.
Thank my right honourable friend for giving way. Madam Deputy Speaker, you might not be aware there is such a thing as the RAC Pothole Index, and that shows that something like 4 out of 10 incidents of damage to vehicles, to cars, are as a result of potholes. So drivers, owners of vehicles are paying their road tax, they're paying their fuel duty, and then of course they have not the infrastructure of the roads to support them. So I welcome what the government is doing in terms of its support for filling potholes, but can we ensure that the motorist is looked after under this government?
Secretary of State.
I can give my honourable friend that assurance, and that's why we've ploughed a record £1.6 billion into roads maintenance, including a £500 million uplift on last year. This is on top, Madam Deputy Speaker, of the £200 million or so that we are putting in the hands of local leaders in the big city regions, empowering mayoral combined authorities to mend the roads in their communities. That means... I will give way.
I thank my right honourable friend for giving me way. One of the questions that's often asked of me is that we've spoken about quick fixes. The problem is that we fix a few potholes, but the disrepair reappears. Does my right honourable friend agree that we should actually be focusing on resurfacing our roads?
Secretary of State.
My honourable friend is completely right, and in some cases, preventative, comprehensive road resurfacing will be the appropriate action to take. Madam Deputy Speaker, in total we're investing around £1.8 billion in fixing our local roads this year. I will give way.
I thank my right honourable friend for giving way and for the record investment of this Labour government in fixing our potholes. I particularly welcome the £21 million for East Sussex to fix our roads. But does she share my frustration that Conservative-run East Sussex County Council has told me they are going to have a lower highways budget this year than last year, even with that record injection from the Labour government? And actually, we need to track how they're spending that money. So I welcome the government's commitment to making councils publish reports of how that extra pothole money is spent, and I hope it will include a geographical breakdown so I can make sure Hastings Rye and the villages is getting its fair share.
Secretary of State.
We are asking local authorities to publish a report on their websites by June of this year. We are tipping more money into highways maintenance, and it's absolutely right that people should see visible results on their roads, and it's right that she is holding her local Conservative council to account. Madam Deputy Speaker, our investment in highways maintenance is not a sticking plaster solution. It's a vital investment that could see councils fixing an extra 7 million potholes next year. And it's just the beginning because, as I've said, for the first time, we've asked councils to prove they're using their funding wisely. By June, they'll be asked, as I've just said, to report on how many potholes they've filled and provide an update on the condition of their roads. And if we're not satisfied that they're delivering real value for money, councils risk losing up to a quarter of their funding uplift. I will give way.
I thank the Minister for giving way.